My dear friend in Christ, in the early years of America's democracy, when Abraham Lincoln was contesting for the presidency of the United States of America, there was a man who went all around the country speaking nasty things about Abraham Lincoln to tarnish his image. He told people things like, "I'm sure you don't want a tall, lanky, ignorant man like this as the President of the United States." Unfortunately, the man's plans didn't succeed, and Abraham Lincoln won the elections and became the President of the United States. But what followed is very interesting. When the time came for him to choose the Secretary of War, he decided to choose a man by the name Mr. Stanton. When he made this proposal before his advisors, they were all shocked and surprised. "Mr. Lincoln," a senior advisor told him, "are you a fool? Do you know the nasty things Mr. Stanton has been talking about you? Did you read all those derogatory statements that he has made about you?" And Abraham Lincoln stood up before the advisors, looked around, smiled, and he said, "Oh yeah, I know about it. I read about it. I've heard him myself. But after looking over the country, I find that he is the best man for the job." Stanton was appointed Secretary of War. Later, when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, one of the greatest statements ever made about him was by Stanton, the same person who spoke unpleasant things about Abraham Lincoln. The very person who spread evil about Lincoln described the nobility of the president, his spirit of unconditional forgiveness, and the integrity of his character. Stanton emphatically added, "Now Abraham Lincoln belongs to the ages." My dear friend in Christ, if Abraham Lincoln had hated Stanton and reacted negatively, both Stanton and Lincoln would have died with unforgiveness in their hearts. I'm sure none of us want to die with unforgiveness in our heart. It is not easy to forgive, especially when people keep hurting us often and for no just reason. But do you recall the incident in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 18, verse 21 and 22? Peter comes up to Jesus and asks, "Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times? Now Peter cleverly asks up to 7 times because the Jewish custom in Jesus' day was to forgive someone 3 times. Judaism, of course, stresses forgiveness, but some teachers in Jesus' time felt the need to limit forgiveness to just 3 instances in some cases. Peter thought he could top it up to 7 times. But Jesus taught limitless forgiveness. Jesus answered, "I tell you, not 7 times, but 70 times 7. My dear friend in Christ, when you find it difficult to forgive, just think about God's limitless love and forgiveness towards us for all the sins we may have committed. The psalmist in Psalm 103 verse 3 sings, "The Lord is compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, and of great kindness." And again in Psalm 130 verse 3, "If you, O Lord, should mark our guilt, who will survive?" The scriptures are full of assurances of God's limitless forgiveness. When you cherish the Lord's forgiveness each day, you will be able to see those who hurt you in a different light. You will begin to forgive. May the Lord give you strength to forgive. May you have a good and godly day.